All right, let's get into it. Today, we're breaking down a really sharp, provocative critique of a modern superhero movie. The core argument? That the film intentionally dismantles its male heroes just to build up one single, perfect heroine. Let's see how they make their case. So the whole analysis really starts with this one big question. It puts forward a pretty bold idea. That in a movie that's supposed to be about a team of four, the story is actually engineered to make three of them totally and completely irrelevant. The main idea, the core of this whole critique, is that the story elevates its female protagonist to an almost godlike status. And it supposedly does this by systematically tearing down her male teammates, showing them as weak, bumbling, and ultimately unnecessary. And the critic doesn't mince words. They basically say, look, forget the name on the poster. The entire point of the movie, according to them, is to prove that out of the four, only one person is actually fantastic, Sue Storm. Okay, so how exactly does the story pull this off, according to the analysis? Well, the first step is to break down the male heroes, arguing that each one is presented as a very specific kind of failure. First on the chopping block is the team's supposed leader, the super genius Reed Richards. You'd expect him to be the brains of the operation, the strategic core, right? Well, the critique argues, not so much. Now, the critique uses some pretty intense language here to make its point. The argument is that he's portrayed as neutered, both sexually and intellectually. They mock his performance in the bedroom and even compare his personality to that super boring teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. All right, next up we have the muscle of the team, the powerhouse known as the Thing. His whole deal is supposed to be about overwhelming physical strength, but the critique argues that the movie completely flips that on its head. Yeah, so the whole point being made here is that the one character who's supposed to be this unstoppable force of nature becomes totally tame, completely harmless. The analysis highlights that around women, all that strength just vanishes, and he's more likely to offer you dessert than a fight. And finally, let's look at the team's hotshot, the charismatic bad boy, Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. And this is where the analysis gets its most, graphic. The argument is that even the most confident, fiery, rebellious guy on the team just gets completely snuffed out the second the heroine walks on screen. His entire personality just evaporates. Okay, so after tearing down all the men, what does the critique say about Sue Storm? Well, it's the complete opposite. The analysis then builds a case for her being this flawless, all-powerful, practically divine being. And just look at this list. I mean, this is the evidence the critic presents for her perfection. It's not just that she's good at one thing. The argument is she's perfect at everything. She's a diplomat, a fighter, a scientist, a cosmic explorer, and a perfect mother, all at once. It leaves no room for anyone else to be good at anything. This really sums it up, doesn't it? The critic is basically saying the whole idea of a team is a total illusion here. It's not a team, it's one perfect hero and her three assistants. So now we get to the climax of the film, which the analysis claims is the ultimate proof of its whole argument. It all comes down to one extreme moral choice that, according to the critic, reveals the movie's entire philosophy. And this really frames the final conflict in the starkest possible terms. It's a cosmic trolley problem, right? You've got the planet eater Galactus making an offer. I'll spare every single one of the 8.1 billion people on Earth, but you have to give me your unborn child. And Sue's decision, according to this critique, is made in a heartbeat, no hesitation. Her choice is a direct echo of what her own mother once told her. For you, I would move heaven and earth. The story, it argues, presents the bond with her one child as infinitely more valuable than all of humanity. And this is a really crucial part of the critique. It claims that inside the movie's own world, if you dare to question this choice, if you suggest that maybe saving 8 billion people is the right call, you're basically painted as a heartless, evil villain. So, where do we go from here? What's the final takeaway from this whole breakdown? Let's get to the critic's satirical and pretty biting conclusion. Ultimately, the critique slaps a very specific label on this character, a Mary Sue. It's a term for a character who's just too perfect. Specifically, an overpowered Mary Sue fair maiden, an archetype so flawless and competent that she never faces a real, meaningful challenge. And for the critic, the final scene is like the cherry on top of this whole argument. You've got these three guys who have supposedly fought gods, and they can't even figure out how to put a baby's crib together, while she just watches them, reinforcing their total incompetence. And it all wraps up with this one final, sarcastic jab, a prediction for the sequel. It's a joke, of course, But it's meant to hammer home the point that the male heroes have been made so completely useless that this is the only story left for them. So this all leaves us with a really fascinating question, doesn't it? Is this type of story the next step in the evolution of the female hero? Or are we just trading one old tired cliche for a brand new one? And this matters because it forces us to think about the stories we consume. In the push to create stronger heroes, are we accidentally making everyone else around them weaker? And if we are, what does that really say about our whole idea of what heroism is?